Well, hello again, guys. So as many of you know, I offer a rebuild service. I have a website you can go to, and you can send me your junk pieces and I will restore them, rebuild them, restore them, send them back to you. And that's mostly pertaining, I say up to 1962. You know, I tend to want to focus more on the Stovebolt era, and even more specifically farther back, mid-50s back, the 6-volt era when it comes to the electronics side of that. But you can send me all kinds of junk. You know, just get in touch with me, and we'll talk more about that at the end. But a nice chap sent me his old Carter W1 to rebuild, which I did, and I have it back once again. Unfortunately, it persisted in leaking out of the top cover. So let's look into this and see what went wrong. Now, this particular Carter is off of a mid to late 30s Chevrolet. I forget exactly what year model his was. I'm thinking 37, 38, somewhere in there. You can see we have the round power piston Go Juice pusher rod there, you know. The later ones being flat, you know. I suppose they were cheaper to build. But you can see all my lovely paintwork just melted off because it persisted in leaking somewhere here, and we've got to find that. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the needle and seat were holding. Your main suspects, your primary suspects, your usual suspects would be when you have a scenario like this where a carburetor just insists on overflowing. Are the floats floating so that they can shut the needle into the seat? You know, is there a pinhole so that your floats are full of gas so they can't float? Or the needle and seat, are they so cruddy, or is the needle stuck? Something along those lines, that so gas can keep flowing. Then we just move on to an actual physical problem with the carburetor bowl or the top itself. Because even if this top cover was completely loose, if we neglected to tighten the screws down so the gasket wasn't actually sealing anything, it still should not leak, because your float would still shut off the flow of gas. Okay, so something's going on there. One thing I do want to point out that I just noticed, I did not notice this earlier. Let's see if I can get it in the light here, and I may need to give you more light. It looks like a funny spot right there with a hole. Now, I'm not sure that means anything, but we'll find out. So you want a simple, quick, cheap method at home you can try testing your needle and seat? Well, I can blow through it, turn it upside down. Cannot blow through it. It's shut off. Okay? You might get some foreign material in there, but you know, it's all good. Or if we want to get fancy, we can hook up vacuum. Floats down, not holding the vacuum. Okay, we're at about 24 inches. Holding steady. I can even turn it right side up. And that vacuum's holding that needle up in place. So we could even sit here for a while and just test, you know, walk away for whatever, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and see if it changes much. All of this up to, I beg your pardon, all of this up to this point is what I did before I sent the carburetor back. So from all outward appearances, it looks like you have a carburetor that at least should function. Throw this on a stand real quick so it doesn't continue to fall over. Okay, now we're going to test it out with some fluid, and instead of using gas, we're just going to throw some mineral spirits in there. I don't even know if I got that in shot. I got it hanging. Yeah, I think you can. You see that? Where is it? I can't find it on the viewfinder. There's the light. There's the thing. Okay. The jar blends in so well with the white wall there. Okay, we're going to hook up our surgical tubing to the inlet there. This is just a motorcycle carburetor testing tool. It's got a valve and then of course your hose. Reminds me of the old fuel valves underneath the old Honda mini trails, you know. Those wonderful things that we just absolutely burned our legs. Oh, it's off. Oh, is it on or off? I don't know. Anyway, little mineral spirits, hang that back up. Alright, now that I'm figuring the equipment out, I'll turn the supply back on. Kickdown works. Squirting into the Venturi. Alright, well, I think I'm going to leave it for a while. Maybe go in, get some supper, come back out and see if we have any sign of a leak. You know, I'd love to have a carburetor test stand, but yeah, sure. Like I'm going to pay that. Okay, well, you can ignore the wet down on the bottom. That came from me pumping the throttle. I mean, I have left it for 2.5 hours now, and I see no wetness. So, I really think it's okay. In order for this to leak out of this gasket, it would either have to be excluding the plumbing to get it to this point. It would either have to be in this elbow shape piece in the casting, or perhaps a crack on the internal threads that your brass seat screws up into. Beyond that, if your needle and seat are good and holding like these are, that's the only places on these carburetors that this can leak. Then you get into, obviously, your fittings go into your fuel pipe. So it's good news and kind of unfortunate in, you know, the circumstances, but at least we know it works. So now, just to prove to myself that I am using this motorcycle tester right, let's pull this back off of here. Because that valve isn't really set up like we normally have a valve, so oh yeah, we got flow. So we were hot the whole time. See, normally perpendicular to your plumbing is off, and then you turn it inline to be on, but this is just opposite. Kind of weird. Now before I sign off here, I decided I wanted to do one more test before we give this thing an absolute clean bill of health. And that is to simulate the fuel system under pressure. Say there's pressure in the fuel line, you've just been running the engine, and you shut it down. Or while it's running, for that matter, and the needle and seat close. You're still going to have pressure on them. Now they make, basically what I'm doing is doing a very poor version of a fuel injector cleaner service tool. If you've ever seen those, you have a aluminum or a stainless pressurized canister that has a lid. You can fill your injector cleaner in the top, and then it has a air chuck and a regulator and a gauge, and basically you start your engine and you are force feeding your injector cleaner right into the fuel rail. I don't have one of those, and it would be good to get one. I am going to do the safe thing here and use the Mighty Vac vacuum canister opposite, assuming it can hold 3 or 5 pounds of pressure. I don't know, we'll find out. But I'm going to force feed this carburetor at a very low pressure some of these mineral spirits, and we'll see what happens. Alright, I don't think I have my air valve on yet at the compressor, so we'll hook this up. Regulator is all the way off. I might just put this in the vise like that. Alright, I'm going to go turn the air on and then we will open this up. Okay, I'm going to try to do this very, very carefully. This is not the best gauge to be using. I really don't need a paint thinner bath. Why is that regulator so tight? I don't like that. Okay, well, let me refill it. And it has failed. Huh. So that almost means we have to have a bad float. Hear it? Full of thinner. Now how did that get past me? You can see it's been soldered on the top. Huh. Okay. Okay, I have a float that should be good. I'm seeing nothing wrong with that. But then again, I'm seeing nothing wrong with the old one. It must be a terribly slow leak to the inside of that thing, because I haven't seen a single bubble so far. No wonder I missed it. Huh. There's a bubble riding on it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Where'd that come from? I don't see it coming from the seam anywhere. Or the arm. Huh. Isn't that interesting? Okay, we're going to try this again. We've got the jars leaking a little bit because the pressure is not going anywhere. So that is a good sign. We're not emptying anymore. So that did it. Huh. I'm stymied. Well, there you go, guys. I mean, unexpected results. And that just goes to show you that no matter how careful you are sometimes, no matter how much testing you do sometimes, you can still come up with problems. This never would have showed itself if I had not left it in the carburetor bowl full of paint thinner, you know, for a day or two or whatever it's been since I started this video. But just a slow leak, and it reared its ugly head. That normal testing just does not show. So I don't know how that could have been avoided otherwise. I definitely think I want to invest in one of those fuel injector cleaner setups, and that can just really help me prove that the carburetor under pressure is going to perform. But be that as it may, this still would not have shown up. Only under long-term sitting in fuel would that have shown up. So there you go. You can always learn something new, and you can always still run into problems no matter what you do. So that's just part of living in this old world and being human, right? So now we get to figure out what to do with this. I can re-clean it up, repaint it, and we'll figure out what to do from there. So hey, thank you so much for joining me on this. God bless you guys. We'll see you on the next one. There's so many thinner fumes in here, I better not light my stogie.